Brooklyn stars Edward Norton, Bruce Willis, William Dafoe, Alex Baldwin, and Gugu Mbatha-Raw. If I pronounced your name incorrectly, I'm sorry. But what is Motherless Brooklyn about? Edward Norton has Tourette's. Bailey's is kind of his alter ego of the Tourette's that's in his brain. He kind of explains that shattered glass, but he has a great memory. He remembers everything people tell him, and he likes problem solving. He likes puzzles. Bruce Willem took him under when they were little kids, as well as his private investigator, LNA agency, I believe that's what it's called. But Bruce Willis, something bad happens to him, and he's got to figure out why Bruce Willis died, who's after him, and why is this lady, Mbatha-Raw, involved with this housing community in Brooklyn. So what I like about this movie, first off, Edward Norton writes, directs, produces, and acts in this movie. He did the M. Night Shyamalan movies, what M. Night Shyamalan does, but Edward Norton did it with it, and this is based off a book. I did not read the book. Foreclosure, because I got in trouble with my Dr. Sleep once. Someone was saying, oh, it's like you don't want to read this book. Well, I'm basing it off the movie, not the book. Disclaimer, so there you go. But Edward Norton, fantastic job in the acting. This is, to me, if this movie actually saw more people or was actually more, because it's a WB movie and they had the Goldfinch, and the Goldfinch came out in 1,000 more theaters and actually is doing a lot worse than Motherless Brooklyn. But I think if this movie had a better audience or actually more wider release, I think Edward Norton would get more praise. If there's that many jump cuts to this one, I want to apologize right now. My nose is going crazy, and I have done this video like 1,700 times, and I'm sick and tired. Jump cuts are coming. But Edward Norton, fantastic job. If this movie was shown more wide audience, I think he would get more Oscar praise for how he portrayed his character. Everyone acting in this movie is fine. It's a great story. It's an intriguing story. There's not a lot of noir movies out there like LA Confidential. Like, since LA Confidential came out in 1999, I don't think there has been a movie kind of like this that's in the 30s, 40s, and you're trying to figure out if there's a murder happening, which is Bruce Willis, and what is happening in the background of why he got murdered. What's Alex Baldwin doing? What's William Dafoe doing? Why are they all angry? What are they trying to do to Brooklyn? Are they trying to basically make the slums, aka the people where the black people live in Brooklyn in the 1930s and 40s, make them into parks and nicer houses, so you have the poor population have to move somewhere else, which the question is, where do they move? Where can they move? Because when you're getting rid of the slums in Brooklyn and make them into nicer housing that's more expensive, who is supposed to actually, where are these people supposed to go? And that's the big part of the behind the mask of Motherless Brooklyn. But it's acted great. It's edited well. I do like period pieces like this that actually show older cars and older uniforms and older clothing and older costumes. To me, that's just fun time to look at movies like this. The only negative downfall I could really think of this movie is the pacing. It is close to a 2.5-hour movie again, kind of like the Goldfinch. So WB is doing a lot of these 2.5-hour movies. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know how long the book is, but it's a long movie. And it kind of goes places where you're like, do we even need that character in the movie? What is this about? Because, like, there is a jazz kind of scene, a character with, what's his name? Kenneth Williams, which he did a great job in this movie, but his plot, they could have made it shorter. But, I mean, his character in the movie, is it pinnacle? It's pinnacle to actually say that Edward Norton's not the only one that has something wrong with his head. So there's interesting scenes like that you understand why it's in there, but didn't need to be that elongated. It does take patience. This movie does take patience. It starts off really high paced. Something bad happens, and then kind of, you're going along this journey with him day by day, minute by minute, seeing what he's seen. And when you finally see or where all the stuff is hidden at, you kind of see it. You're like, oh, I kind of saw that coming. Makes sense because all this character was saying was about an object. It's like, yeah, I can see that happening. But Motherless Brooklyn, I like how it looks. I like the editing. I love the acting in this movie. I like a lot of things about this movie, except the pacing. The pacing does drag on a bit. You're like, okay, what are we doing now? Let's kind of speed this up. If it's based off a long book and Edward Norton wants to be as faithful and truthful to this book, because like he did write it and not leave out any integral parts, then he succeeded. But like I said, I could only go off the movie and not the book. But Motherless Brooklyn, if it is near you, I think it's been out for 2 weeks now. This is going to be on its third week coming out. It wasn't a high release. There were some trailers before and after, but this movie, you can tell it's kind of a lower budget side. There's some green screens that you kind of know are green screen. But other than that, I recommend Motherless Brooklyn if you can find it near a theater near you. So Motherless Brooklyn will receive a 3.5 out of 5 with Futon because that's 70%. So see the critics' news scores gave this movie. So you have critics at 61% with 140 of them. Audience score and 80% with 2,127. Here's critic consensus. Motherless Brooklyn's imposing length requires patience, but strong performances and unique perspective makes it a mystery worth investigating. I have to agree. It's a little long. It does take patience. Great acting, great performances. It's an intriguing story, except a little parts you're like, okay, why are we doing this? Or they would do something and they would kind of forget about it, and you're like, I guess. Or like little character decisions as well. Of there's like a burning of something, a paper, which you're like, you could say something to this one person, but you didn't. You're like holding stuff to yourself. And I think that's what movies about this kind of frustrates me is when people could tell someone something, but they keep them to themselves. But if they just tell the person something, especially the jazz club scene, that whole fight could have been completely ignored if Edward Norton just came clean. Because his whole thing is about how Frank, Bruce Willis' character is like, just tell the truth. And he does that at the very end. But if he just told the truth, in some of these scenes, he wouldn't have gotten beaten up. He wouldn't have been in this situation. So you're like, follow the rules all the way through? So do you get the 61, the 70, or the 80? Chase like the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. It's Blue Futon Utopia. You Blue Futonians. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. But yeah, my nose. I'm going to kill my nose. My nose is officially gone.